I'm Regina Gonzaga, student number 80555-1224, presently enrolled at the Certificate in Business course at TAFE. Today, August 9, I am here at Argo Labs Pharmaceutical and Medical Distribution Office, along with the staff, Mark Benagin, Fritzy Diaz, Tim Camadias, and Joseph Mercurio. Are you agreeable to being recorded in this presentation?
Yes.
Yes.
Before I proceed, I'd like to let you know that the venue has been inspected for work, health, and safety hazards, and this venue is free of risk to you. And before I start my presentation, I'd like to make an acknowledgement of country. I acknowledge I'm presently in Mindanao, the southernmost region of the Philippines, and I'd like to acknowledge the elders and the traditional custodians of this land, past and present. So today I'd like to talk about skills that we can bring to the workplace. And one of the skills is ability to resolve conflict, which is inevitable. Conflict is described as a condition in which people could have opposing views and action. And we all respond differently to conflict. Why? Because we're all unique. We all have different temperaments, values, and perceptions. And so we all have different strategies that we employ when we face conflict. According to the Kenneth Thomas and Ralph Gilman model, there are two dimensions when choosing a course of action in a conflict situation. There's always a component of assertiveness and cooperativeness. And today I'd like to focus on the 5 conflict resolution strategies. These include avoiding, competing, accommodating, compromising, and lastly, collaborating. Let's go to these strategies one by one. In the conflict resolution strategy, avoiding, it's very simple and easy. It requires little effort because there's very little effort. People tend to avoid the issues. Why? Because the risk of confronting the issue or the person poses so much discomfort. So people just set up walls, barriers. They give each other the cold shoulder, and it creates a certain tension, not only in the workplace, but in your family life too. Many times when I read the papers and think of marriages that break down, and one party just walks away not knowing what happened, it's because of avoidance. Issues are not resolved and talked through. The second conflict resolution strategy is competing. I'm not sure if you heard of Stephen Covey. Have you heard of Stephen Covey, who wrote the 7 Habits of Effective People?
Yes.
He always advocates a win-win situation. But in competing, it's a win-lose situation. People enter a conflict situation hoping to win and the other lose. This could be viable in sports, in singing competitions, or what have you. But in a workplace, it's not very advisable because we don't want anyone to leave the table feeling disrespected or having lost. So this is not a strategy that is very recommended. The next conflict resolution strategy is accommodating. In this situation, a person gives in. And it could be for good reason. It could be an acknowledgement of wrong. I give in because I know I'm wrong and you're right. But it could also be for a not so good reason. Sometimes people give in just to avoid disunity or lack of harmony. And it's not a good thing because the issue does not get resolved. Next is the conflict resolution of compromise. In compromise, people face the conflict with the understanding that no one totally wins. We have to give in a bit. It's like splitting the difference. We have to give in a bit to get something back. In family life, I remember I always tell my kids, you have to finish your work before you get to play. So there's always a compromise. And I'm sure in your work dealings, you've had to make compromises with your client. I give you a discount, but you have to probably increase your order, whatever. So in this situation, no one completely wins, but no one loses at the same time. And the best strategy is collaborating. In collaborating, people are both assertive and cooperating. So they bring to the table a piece of their own perspective. And this collaboration leads to a group solution, which is supported by everyone. And we see that collaboration is the best conflict management strategy because it makes all parties involved in the dispute feel valued and understood. No one walks away feeling diminished, right? And when you actively listen to the concerns of people in conflict, the more likely you can come up with the most cooperative solution. And active listening means truly listening, affirming what the person says, and to value their opinion, and to demonstrate mutual respect. There is nothing more damaging or disruptive of a company's culture and well-being when there is no respect. So how do we develop a collaborative mindset? You have to focus on the we rather than me. We tend to be egocentric, focusing on ourselves. And that solution does not deliver the best outcome. So look at what is best for the group, the team, or the project. Include everyone in the discussion. Focus on our purpose or our goal. Be willing to learn. So I ask you to close your eyes. Think of the last conflict you had to face. What strategy did you use? Was it the most effective strategy? What could you have done better? Anyone who wants to share their experience? Have you ever been, been on the losing side of a competing strategy? Have you ever felt disrespected in the workplace? Joseph?
Not in the workplace, ma'am. Maybe at home. Just last week, it was in a way competing with my wife when it comes to our daughter. Yes. So in any way or any situation, the wife always wins. Yes, but it was more of.
So do you find yourself in the accommodating strategy?
Yes, I think so. Yes, it started with competing, but then of course I have to give in to my wife because if we compete, somebody has to lose. So for our child, we have to come up with the best decision. So I think I have to accommodate her thoughts on the issue. Mm-hmm. So it was good for the both of us.
Very good. The important thing is to talk things through and to listen.
Yes.
And that happens when you're able to rein in your emotions. Sometimes the emotions get in the way of our listening to people. And to have an open mind. Sometimes we're so attached to our feelings, to our opinion. But when we have an open mind, we can gain more perspective on how to approach a problem. So do you have any questions for me? No, so far? So I end with this quote from Winston Churchill. He said, "Courage is what it takes to stand up and speak, but courage is also what it takes to sit down and listen." So I hope you take a few good points to your home, to your workplace, to your social life, and may your conflicts be resolved more effectively with these strategies. Thank you for listening, and I've given you some feedback forms to fill up. If you could kindly do so, and I appreciate your attending this talk.